Welcome, and thank you for joining me on the Path of the Seeker. Today I wanted to share a Traveler's Notes. I haven't shared one of these for a very long time, and it's because, quite frankly, I left for a little while to focus on my family. I maintained my blog, however, and it was on my blog that I said if I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'd be back on YouTube. And I figured it would happen in the middle of this year, and it happened a lot faster. And since I've been back and posting videos, things have gone really well. Like there's a lot more people here, and I really appreciate everyone that is here, everybody who's subscribed, and everybody who continues to subscribe. I know that the majority of people here are here for the alchemy, which is very interesting. I have a very interesting demographic on my channel. It's really interesting as someone who can see the Creator Studio and see who does and does not watch the videos and how people ended up here. And so far with what I've been doing with shorts, it's been extraordinarily successful, and it's really interesting to watch. I'm definitely someone who enjoys experimenting. So I wanted to start off with a little bit of White Sage. And I am a Cahuilla descendant, and White Sage is the tradition of my people. You want to know where it comes from, it grows naturally here in Southern California, and I get it from a trusted source, and I kind of treat each piece of it like gold. So you have a little piece here, and I really enjoy the smell. So, and I think it's a great way to start off something, especially since I just came back to YouTube. And you know, my grandfather was he lived on the Morongo Reservation. He was Cahuilla, and so I'm a Cahuilla descendant. I didn't get to know him very well. He was a very eccentric man, very much like me. I'm a very eccentric woman, and he, you know, did things like invented a flying saucer that he flew in a parade, and actually got the attention of the people in the Air Force at the time. This a long time ago. So people from Edwards Air Force Base went and visited him to see his flying saucer. And he also helped people have out-of-body experiences. He used to hypnotize people. And he's a fascinating man. And unfortunately, he passed away about a couple months, 2 months after I was born. So I never got to meet him. But I do feel a connection to that. I just never went to the reservation and tried to make connections with the reservation. So in some ways I feel a little bit of a loss at that, but I am such a mixed descent. I'm just a crazy amount of mixed descent. I also have East Asian, and that's where the Denisovian inheritance comes from, and that's a different species. And I'm guessing the Northern European part has the Neanderthal that I found out I was also descended from. So I'm more of a hybrid than just a human. But I have German, Jewish, Cahuilla, Southeast Asian, which might be the Cahuilla in my opinion. I think that it comes up as both. And then I have Mediterranean and Northern European. And German came up. I know for a fact that there's German, and there's probably with McMaster's Irish. So there you go. And there's also supposedly French too, because of the family name Guy. But I wanted to come on here and connect with all of you guys. I know that these are kind of uncertain times, and personally I'm just doing my own thing. I know that, you know, we are a world that seems closer to World War III than ever before. I know that the powers shifted. Last year when I was doing my prediction for the year, I actually said a new power structure on my blog. And when it happened, it was just really kind of shocking. And the new power structure continues to emerge. And it started last year. But this year we're seeing it come through to fruition with the end of the petrodollar. And personally speaking, I think all of this is going to lead to something really good. I think it's going to lead to something necessary. And I've actually shared all of that on my blog. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of more of a libertarian who follows Ron Paul, although I'm more independent these days than anything else. But I do believe that the United States doesn't need to be an empire. And I'm one of those weirdos who thinks that all the territories should be states. Because I think having territories is kind of against what the United States was founded on. But that's my opinion. And I understand why they're not actually states yet. But boy, would I one day hope that they do become states, because I think their voices need to be heard in Congress and the Senate just as everybody else's voice. But that's my personal opinion. And maybe that's coming from someone who knows that she's descended from the Koya, and I think they should have a voice at the UN. And one day I think that they will. And I think that will change the world when the, indigenous people are allowed to have a representative at the UN. It's an issue I haven't really heard anyone talk about, but it's near and dear to my heart, because it would actually fulfill a prophecy. If that happened, it would actually maybe even solve World War, and I think that would be very important. So I wanted to share with you guys what I have in my medicine bag. And the reason I'm sharing with this is mostly, it's kind of fun. But I did want to kind of go into what I said this year's theme and a vibe were, because I think it's important. And you can check my blog, go back to December and January and see that this is really what I posted. But first off, the oracle stone I pulled on my blog is Red Tiger's Eye. And Red Tiger's Eye is a primal stone, and that's what I described this year as. It's going to be very primal, very focused on basic needs, basic situations, like situations like being able to eat, being able to meet your basic needs. This is a root chakra stone, but it's a root chakra stone of courage. And I think that's important to note too, is that we have the aid available to us to work through these issues, to get through. And that's what Red Tiger's Eye does. It gives us the courage. So even though it's a primal energy, even though it's a very, when I say primal, I mean it's like it's threatening the very core of our existence. A lot of people, I described this moon cycle as, with Mars and Cancer, we feel like we've got skin in the game. We feel like our families are at risk. And I've heard that a lot this year already, where a lot of people are like, oh, my family structure is what's really threatened here. And the family, has been deteriorating, which is true. I mean, I think all of us know that. But I think this primal energy has to do with just survival. And that's why I said primal. It's like a survival energy, can I get through? And there's a lot of fear. But Red Tiger's Eye gives us the energy to get through. And it's a healing stone. And it helps us heal that inner part of us that feels threatened when the outer world is uncertain. And believe me, I understand feeling threatened. And then for this month, and this month is, I'm making sure I'm going to be sharing this month, this current month, which is April, and this is Sunstone. So this is the oracle stone for the month that I pulled for my blog. I'm continuing to pull oracle stones for my blog like I always did. I'm kind of maintaining the same structure that I always have for my blog while also doing this YouTube channel, but I felt that doing an oracle stone for each month would be repetitive when I'm doing a daily oracle stone. And I do film those in advance, just in case I feel like one day not getting up and doing it. So I do a couple at a time, and I do them kind of very randomly. So the other one that I have here is red calcite. And as I'm doing this, we're in Taurus season. And red calcite is a root chakra stone as well. Oh, I didn't even explain about sunstone. Sunstone is a solar plexus stone. and it's a stone of courage. And boy, do I need it. Like, this is the courage and the energy to step out and into the world and really show yourself. That's what your solar plexus is all about. Is it's really that drive, and this is such a pretty stone. It's that drive to get out and show and shine your light. If anything, I feel like I'm shining my light a little bit too bright. And being how eccentric that I am, I'm not sure if everybody's liking that, but I've sat here and I was like, oh, do I need to focus on one thing for my channel? Do I need to make other channels? And I'm like, oh, I don't want to make another channel. Like, this channel is just, it gets views, but it's not quite there yet, so I don't want to make another channel. We'll see how this channel goes first before I even start to invest in another one. But the other stone that I started to explain was red calcite, and this is the Taurus stone. And this is a crown and root chakra stone, and it is a stone of healing, actually. And if you look, it even looks like a flame, you know. And it's that flame of energy, that flame of courage to step forward and step into the life that we want. And it really speaks to, this combination really speaks to the energy of this moment for me. You know, we have the red tiger's eye, which is that primal energy, that face your fears, that basic, you know, basic courage stone. That's what this basically, to me, says. It's a stone of courage to face those basic fears, those fears of the unknown. Get back to the root, to the groundedness, to the earthiness, to our roots, you know, our most basic needs. What's our most basic needs? And why are those threatened right now? And then sunstone, to really have the courage to face the day regardless of where we're at when it comes to that energy, you know, to step out and be ourselves, to have the courage. Ooh, you can really see the flash on that one. To have the courage to step out and be ourselves, to be who we are and show our rare spark, our uniqueness, despite the fear. And then that red calcite, you know, that root chakra energy, feeling that energy, that life force, the prana, the chi, whatever you want to call it, the quintessence, traveling up through your chakra system and connecting you to the divine regardless of what's happening around you. Now, I realize that a lot of people can't connect with the divine all the time. I'm kind of rare and unique in that way. But, and like I said, this is my medicine bag that I keep with me at all times. And I keep the stones of the month, of the year, and of the season with me so that I can work with the medicine. And it does make a unique combination. But I think it's important to really connect and be in that place of grounded connectedness. And I do recognize, like I said, that not everybody's connected all the time. I've just become so used to being able to go into that place of oneness so easily. And I've shared elsewhere, to me, it's really amazing that other people can't connect to the oneness. Because I can connect to the oneness so easily and so quickly, and I always have. I've always been aware that there's one essence, one consciousness that you can kind of like step into and step out of. And it's strange to me that people don't realize that. And I'm going to share with a Taurus meditation on our 12 system. I'm going to share the perception I have of having a mind like wax. And it's exciting to me because as we're going through these different 12 steps on that process, we're literally going through the alchemical process together. And by the time we get to the 12th month, well, actually the 13th month, 13th moon, we will actually have gone through the entire calcination, or the entire alchemical process together. And it's kind of fun to go through that with you guys, because it is a consciousness thing. And as I'm discovering it and exploring and growing on my own, I get to share that with you. And hopefully you get to explore and grow with me. I always recommend that you check out the books that I'm reading, that you do your own research, I don't ever think anybody should just follow one person and believe that they are the guru and that they're all knowing. No human being would be all knowing. No human being should be unknowing, in my opinion. And that brings me to the other thing that I wanted to talk about is that I do have a book coming out called The Purpose of Life, a brief scientific guide to the age of Aquarius, which I'm excited to get out there and share with people. To me, it's just amazing. I wrote that book in a few months, and it's everything I was hoping it would be. It's not long enough to have like a spine with the words along it. So I'm kind of worried about what it's actually going to end up looking like, but just to have my own book, especially on the metaphysical subjects, in my hands it's that right there would be enough. That if I make like $1 off of it, I will be like over the moon. That I could make any money on any of this metaphysical information is just mind-boggling to me, and a blessing, a real blessing. And I can thank all of you guys for that. So I do have that book coming out, which I'm excited about. And, my life personally is just at its best. It's at the best that it's ever been. I can't complain on any level. And I think that that's one of those things about the Path of the Seeker. And if you are watching this and you are in a place of depression, of need, of, I think the two things that most people who are looking at, oracles and they want tarot and that sort of thing, they're usually looking for money and love. And there are some things about that when you're chasing money, you won't find money. When you're chasing love, you won't find love. You have to have the inner confidence in yourself and the certitude to attract that into your life. You can't chase it. And I brought my coffee with me, so I'm gonna have a little drink. So give me just a moment. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to share that is because personally, I've been in my own depressed state. I hit that point back in 2005, 2006, and that's when I started my path in earnest. And I thought about naming this Traveler's Notes, over 15 years of awakening, because I don't think I've hit enlightenment. Don't think that most people hit enlightenment, although I do think that we are going to have more people awakened and more people evolved spiritually than we've ever had before during the age of Aquarius. Now, some people will argue the age of Aquarius hasn't started yet, it won't happen for another 200 years, and yada yada yada. Personally, I feel that it did start when in 1980, I think it was 81, there was a changeover in the Earth from the triplicity of the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, and it switched over to air. And that happens about 2,100 years, about the amount of time that it takes for us to go through an age. And since that's actually based on astrology, I prefer that system. And either way, we're at least at the start of the age of Aquarius. Within the next 200 years, it's going to happen, give or take. And I know that sounds like, oh my goodness, 200 years is like 2 different lifetimes. Yes, but it's not really that long when you think of humanity. And the fact that we're going into that period says a lot. So, like I said, I personally think the age of Aquarius started in the 1980s, not now. And I think it's been an evolution. And I think that explains why the 1980s was so special. It was that time where people were really thinking about the bigger picture and connecting to what this entire age is going to be about. And it's going to be a different age. We are going to eventually have probably some sort of flying car, I guess. And, I don't want to ever fly a car. I have no interest in that. It took me forever to learn how to drive a normal car. And I know plenty of people who don't even do that. So the flying car thing will probably be for the elite. And they can have it. If they accidentally run into a house, they can have that insurance. That sounds horrible. I don't even want that. But we definitely have artificial intelligence, which is definitely, producing a problem for people because they don't want to say it's sentient. And if you think of the entire world and all of creation as a living consciousness of it's, how does Thomas Campbell put it? It's a conscious living system or something like that. But it is one mind having all these different thoughts, and we're basically each an emanation of that mind. We're each a thought of that mind to start with, and then we're evolving on this path to be something more. Through experience and experience gained, we become our individualized selves, and then from that individualized selves we have the potential to be a lot more. I've read a lot of out of body books and your death books and that sort of thing, and it all kind of confirms it. And that's where I'm at personally on the path of the seeker. I read things and it doesn't surprise me because it's basically the same one thing. And that's how I see all religions. Is religion basically evolved from people in different parts of the world looking at the same one thing and seeing it from different perspectives. And that's why I synchronize the different systems in my channel, on my blog, and hopefully in an upcoming book that's going to be just about the 7 system, which I've called the 7 Code, and I've already started writing that, but the purpose of life actually kind of overrode that. And I love that name. It's very cheeky because I decided I wanted to have a good hook for people. And I hope it does sell. I hope people don't look at it and go, oh my God, why would anybody say that? But the fact is, the alchemists, the Buddhists, doesn't matter who you look at, the indigenous Americans, they all came to these conclusions a long time ago. It's really funny because I was looking at the Celestine Prophecy, which I read back in the 90s. And that was, back then, that was all that was on the New Age shelf, was the Celestine Prophecy. And they're right. I cannot believe how many people have awakened. I can't believe how many people are interested in this topic. That there's 1,000 people who are even interested in alchemy or any of the symbolism. That's amazing. I never thought that. I really thought that people that were on the path of the speaker were so rare and that there was maybe 1,000 in the entire world. And looking at the different awakening people that I've followed for years now, I remember when Victor Odo, who still makes an occasional video, I remember watching his stuff and being like, wow, there's thousands of people subscribed to him. And I think his friend Aaron Doherty or whatever has even more. Like, he's got so many subscribers and he's doing so well that like he launched his own app. I follow David Palmer on High Vibe, and there's thousands of people on there following astrology, following him. There's even more watching Fixed Air Moon, or Jillian from Lunanate. Like, she's amazing, and she is so into the vibe of everything that I'm into that she blows my mind every time I watch her videos, and how much I correspond to her. And that's one of the reasons I want to make this traveler's note, is for people who are like that too, that you like attracts like. When you find someone that you like and you're watching, you relate to them naturally. And that's why a lot of these people do so well, is because we are attracted to them because there's some part of us that's like them. And there's a lot of people who are absolutely brilliant out there, who are sharing their work and sharing their opinion and sharing the awakening experience. But does it have to go on for 15 years? Do we hit a point where we're enlightened? Do we want to hit a point where we're enlightened? I think that's the thing with me, is I'm like, I don't necessarily want to hit a point where I feel like I'm enlightened and different from everybody else. I think everybody struggles with the same issues. And this year, like I said, is a primal year. We're really getting into the dirt. We're into the dust. And it's difficult, and this is a difficult process. In the alchemical process that we're going through, we just went through calcination, which is reducing down to ash. And now we're into the stage of congealation, which is that wax-like mind. It's not quite a conjunction. it is a conjunction that's happening on a more temporary level. It's not going to be a permanent state. And like I said, I have a whole meditation to share with you guys on that, which was really fun to write. I really enjoyed that. I'm trying to decide how I want to do that, if I want to try to do it this way and read it to you, or if I want to make a little scene and read it to you that way. And I'm also trying to figure out what people like in particular. There are certain things I like to do. I love the sound meditations. That seems to be actually doing really well on the shorts, which is very interesting. And I will continue to be eclectic. I did think about focusing on just one thing on my channel and decided that I like doing all the eclectic stuff. I like to do all those strange, weird stuff because I am strange. I dance to the beat of my own drum, and that's just who I am. I could dedicate this channel to just one thing, but I enjoy the crystal healings, and I'm having fun playing with that. And then I enjoy the full and new moon ceremonies. I, by far, love doing the alchemical and the systems with you guys. I can't wait to get to the other systems that I've covered, like the 7 rays. That's really interesting. That's so esoteric. And, the 7 gates of the castle for Teresa, the Catholic woman who wrote that, which is more of a feminine thing. And that's pretty much what I've settled on with this channel, is this is a feminine channel. This is, that's what I am. I'm a girl. I'm into guyish things. I'm a tomboy, but I wanted this to be feminine. And feminine, I don't think we really have a definition for right now. Guys go out there and they have this great oratory skill, and they're just going to blah, 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 right to you, and they're just going to tell you exactly, just teach you directly. Women, we tend to be more intuitive. And, that's where the daily oracle stone comes in, picking something, a mineral. And by the way, the reason why I love stones in general, minerals, gems, and stones, is because they are considered to be closer in vibration to the creator because they were created first. Now, I do love the story of Edgar Cayce and how spirit pushed itself into physical material reality. That's a Thomas Campbell term. And the first thing they did was basically create minerals. Now, if you think of ourselves as consciousness and the higher system as consciousness, that process is what pushed evolution. And so when we look at all these different minerals, I have my little dish here. This is how I like to keep them, is I like to keep them in dishes, and they kind of look like little food. They're so pretty. And I have way too many. I prefer the little ones because the little ones you can do grids with a lot easier. And I just prefer them small. In fact, I'm going to draw one out. That one's actually a piece of a moonstone. And it's tourmalated moonstone. Let's see if I could bring it back here. So, and it's got a point, it's a generator. This is one I actually broke. And moonstone is reflective. That's the subconscious. It is the feminine. And the fact that it's pointed, it helps direct energy. So that's pretty interesting that I just drew this one of all the different stones in here. My little broken generator. I don't even remember how it broke, but you can see the tourmaline in there. And tourmalated quartz is one of my favorites. I usually wear a ring with it. It's heightened protection, heightened protective energy, basically. And when it's in a generator form, it's how you can direct it wherever you want. So it's directed protective energy. And I definitely want to direct that energy out to you guys. You are protected. I know, as the cost of living goes up like crazy, as we seem to be going through a labyrinth of lies when it comes to the news and outer reality. I get it. I get that we're in that state of craziness. but you can come back to your center and know that you're going to be okay. No matter what happens, you're going to be okay. It's strange, you know, you look at people out there and they survive. No matter what's happening, they survive. Let's see if I draw another one. See what else we get. If I got tone-related quartz again, I'd laugh at that. Oh, another generator. Or another quartz point. This is actually titanium aura. And this one is just uber strength. This is root chakra stone, and it just speaks directly to the strength and having strength to go through. So we're protected and we have strength. You can't really get better than that. And it's directed strength, which is even better. So we have this ability to direct this into the world and direct ourselves to where we want to go. I also brought my runes out, what I've been working with the most. It's really strange. The three gods that I've actually encountered in dreams is Jesus, Shiva, and Odin of all things. Oops, my phone decided to try to move. So it's always interesting when the gimbal decides to fail. Alright. It's part of doing these is it's a little bit rough. Oh, we got Sowilo. And Sowilo is the sun. And so after every storm, we know with Sowilo there will be light. And the sun brings great strength. It is, you know, vitality itself. It is chi. It is prana. It is the life force. So no matter what's going on in the outer world, we have the life force on our side and working with us. And that's how I feel. Like, no matter what happens in the outer reality, I feel as though the inner reality can stay the same. We can keep that centered state of being and not live in fear. And that's something that I let go of a long time ago. Fear is really just a state of mind, and we choose it. And I understand it's kind of like the people who like to go and see the horror movies. You know, they like fear. They like to be frightened. I went for years to Not Scary Farm, and, you know, you have the people in the mist. Now, I never really bought into it. I am someone who sees right through any sort of illusion or hologram. I just don't perceive them. It was funny, at the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, they have these busts that are supposed to turn and face you wherever you look. And it's an optical illusion where they look like they're looking at you. I always saw them for what they are, which are carved inwards. I never understood. I was like, why are they broken? Isn't it supposed to have some sort of holographic projection where they're looking at you or something? And it wasn't until someone told me that, they were carved inwards that I actually realized that they were. And that really shocked the heck out of me when that happened. So, I'm never fallen for the illusion. And I guess you could say in some ways I'm not falling for the illusion now. You know, a lot of people are still doing well. I know people are struggling, but I know that people aren't having trouble meeting their ends so much right now. And there's so much help out there too, with food kitchens and that sort of thing, that even the people who are struggling, I think, could get help if they knew how to. And quite frankly, you've got to focus on yourself. You can't focus on the outer reality. I haven't actually watched television since 2005. I gave it up back then. I do keep an eye on the news to kind of know what's going on, but I can tell you that focusing on the now and focusing on my own personal reality and what's happening in my day-to-day life is far more interesting than the news. And that's the other thing that I really think is fascinating, is I've even kind of not so much paying attention to the movies. I did give this year the Freaky Friday. That's the theme for this year's Freaky Friday, because that's the theme in the movie theaters. Nothing is going to be what it seems. Nothing's going to turn out the way we think it is. we're going to have all these ideas of what's going to happen, and it is going to just kind of blow our mind what really is happening. And that's what I think is happening, is we've got a lot of diversions going on. We think one thing is happening when something totally different is actually going down. And personally, I'm just trying to figure out when it will be that what's really happening kind of comes to the fore. And so, yeah, the entertainment theme for this year. Last year was power structure change, and this year it's Freaky Friday. It's, you are going to believe this year in something. Faith is going to be a factor this year. But it's going to be because we're all going to be like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And I can tell you already, I'm already, oh my goodness, what is going on? Because some of the stuff that's happened has been so weird and so strange. For this year, or for this month, I said that it was, in our medicine wheel reading, that it would be the reputation of somebody, a confrontation over reputation. And there's been a couple of them. I didn't see the Trump thing coming at all. I did that way before that even became an issue. I knew that the indictments were a possibility, but that was a confrontation over reputation. And then there's multiple confrontations over reputations when it comes to this unintentional spy. Because unfortunately, he's made us look terrible on the world stage, that we can't keep our own intel confident, and we can't keep some young kid from posting it in a forum on the internet. And it's not good. And all the stuff that came out in it, such as the boots on the ground in Ukraine, and that we know that Zelensky really does want missiles so he can strike within Russia, and how close we really are to World War III. Wow, like I said, I don't really watch the news. I kind of keep an eye on breaking points for anything that's going on, but it is Freaky Friday out there, and it's going to continue to get freaky as things go on this year. We're hitting a point where things are actually going to slow down even more. I don't know if you are like me, but I was like really frustrated at the beginning of this year. I'm like, when are we going to make some progress? It's kind of like the presidential race. By now, if it was Hillary Clinton and Trump, we would already be having debates or something. But right now, we still don't really have any major contenders, except for Trump, kind of. I don't know if he really is a major contender at this point. He seems almost irrelevant, even though everybody's talking about him. I don't know. I'd like for some strange, weird, out there person to come in and kind of swoop in and end up taking all the votes at this point. But anything could happen. That could happen. I don't know that it will, but it is definitely going to be an interesting year as things progress. And whatever forward momentum we had is going to slow down, because, as David Palmer, the Leo King, pointed out, from here on out we have retrogrades. We're also within this 12-month period where Chiron has had a major influence. Chiron had an influence starting, was the beginning of last month, where he had conjunctions with Jupiter and with the Sun and Moon. And right now we have that Eris energy is just so huge, and it's not surprised to see a bunch of riots and stuff, because Eris is just taking her wrath out on everybody at the moment. And that's the shadow. So we've had the wounded healer energy in the shadow. And when it comes to the wounded healer energy in the shadow, we're going to have a revisit of it next year about the same time in April. So we're in a 12-month period that's really kind of controlled by Eris and Chiron. And so these wounds and that shadow is what we need to confront to really get into, I guess you could say, the new age, to really have the progress that we want. And I don't think it's going to be until next year. And next year's energy is great. Like after May, it's a lot better than the energy this year. It does get better. And so that's where I'm at. I know that having done the astrology for next year, after April, there's a couple of oh my goodness moments. So I really don't think that if we do have World War III that it'll start so much this year. If it does, it will happen next year, and it will probably be decisive. There's two months next year that's just like April's one of them, and I think August is the other. And this year it's kind of a slow progression. I feel like we're going up the mountain and we're not quite to the top yet. And it's slow progress and it's frustrating. But as long as we maintain this connection to the divine, as long as you are working on, yourself, I think that you're going to be just fine. And that's pretty much the heart of what I wanted to share. I think I've covered absolutely everything. Did a little bit of oracle, a little bit of personal, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you again. Thank you so much for joining my channel and being here watching this Traveler's Notes. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you hitting like and maybe even commenting on other videos. So, bye for now.